Pod, checking us out on YouTube, or listening on your favorite podcast provider, you are most definitely my people. Welcome to another episode of Botched Spots and Chair Shots. I'm your host, a chef by trade, no mark by choice. I am the Will Gray, and joining us tonight, he is part of the Wrestle Addict Radio. He is Mr. Fretz, host of the Fretzlemania Podcast. Mr. Fretz, how are you? Thanks for coming on and chatting about some wrestling.
I am fantastic. Thanks for having me on, dude. This is quite an honor.
I'm pretty excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. Fallout of Night 1, tons to talk to, and we're going to squeeze it into as nice, organized, finite conversation as we can. Joining me directly below me to the south on the screen, he is the HR director of all things Wrestle Talk in the world of TikTok. He is host of the Free Talk Podcast, which is part of the PWC. He is Big Mike the Hill. Mike, thanks for coming on, brother. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. I know it's not my typical setup, but I had to come in early, so
Everything about this so far is weird because we don't ever run at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, this seems really out of the ordinary. We're usually much later into the evenings. But today's a special day, and always joining us, she is perched upon her iron throne in the boss bitch's corner. She is the Hovid of my Beyonce. She is the Bonnie to my Clyde. She is the brains of the operation that is all things Rivet City Radio. She is the boss bitch, Miss Allison. Al, how are you?
I'm good.
Excellent. Look, guys, like I said, it's kind of short, kind of sweet. But I'm not going to let you guys off. I'm always going to ask that one simple question to start every episode. Mr. Fretz, I'm going to start with you. And it's, what has you pissed off this week? What's pissed off for greatness? It could be anything. What has you worked up? It could be good or bad, indifferent, somebody's gear, something you really loved and you're really just hyped about. Like, what has you the most worked up this week in pro wrestling?
I think it has to be, to be the most worked up, it has to be that Bray Wyatt is missing WrestleMania this year. We don't know what's going on, if there's illness, if there's mental illness. It really sucks. Although the Bobby Lashley match that was proposed was kind of odd, but that whole director's chair bit, I was intrigued, and then all of a sudden there was nothing. But I low-key hope that he's making an appearance tonight. There is a rumor and innuendo about Bobby Lashley tonight and about someone who could be his opponent, but I assume that you'll be getting into that, so I'll let you take the reins there. It's unusual, but I'm along for the ride. No, this is night 1 of WrestleMania was one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen live, ever.
I definitely, my biggest worry was if they, I'll say the phrase, if they, shot their whole shot in one night. They've still got a whole another 4-hour card to fill. Did they give us everything they have in one go? Because last year, for instance, night 1 was a banger, and then night 2 fell on heavy criticism because it didn't deliver as much as night 1 did. And I feel like this is what they're up against this year. But I agree, night 1 was damn near flawless in my opinion. Mike, what about you? What has you pissed off for greatness this week in pro wrestling?
I can only think about something. Well, actually, there's a couple things. One, Chad Gable needs a better push, man, because that guy's amazing in the ring. And, you already know my stance on R-Truth. I really believe that, the man still can go, and really wish that they'll give him, like, a little shot. But right now, I just love that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens won the Tag Team Championship last night. Love it.
Yeah,
we finally got a change.
I'm big on that, and when we get there, I'm excited to hear about some of the thoughts of what that can mean for what's coming for the Bloodline. Al, what about you? You got anything for us? What has you pissed off for greatness?
While I don't disagree with the decision to not have Charlotte and Rhea be the main event, I do strongly disagree with the fact that they put that weird Miz, Pat McAfee situation on after it. I feel like that should have gone before it. And I just thought that was a real poor choice. Like, you could see when Charlotte came out that she was angry. Whether it was for the match itself, which I don't think it was. I think it was the placement of the match. Because this is 2 years in a row that she has been shit on in that main event, the true main event spot of night 1 of WrestleMania. And so, I don't know, I just feel like if they had gone on before, like after Sami and KO and the Usos, like nobody would have cared, period, at all. But I do think it should have been right before.
The semi-main event for sure. I'm going to segue with that as my pissed off for greatness, and it's not really that I'm angry about it, but it's something that I'm super hyped and super passionate about, and so much so that I'm taking pen to paper for it. And that is Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley with Jessica Carr is to this generation what Steamboat, Savage, and Hebner were at WrestleMania 3. People that watch and appreciate wrestling now will know what I mean by that, because that was maybe the match of the night. The main event told a story, and it was a bigger story per se. But when it came to just raw singles competition wrestling, that was hands down the match of the night. Not taking away from what the tag team did. The tag team had the biggest story, the biggest match. It was the match of the night. But pure wrestling-wise, Charlotte and Rhea left 100% of it in the middle of the ring, in my opinion. So I think right now they're going to get their roses over time, even without being the main event, because of what they were able to do in the ring last night. So I'm hyped for it. Let's just kind of dive right into it, guys. Last night opened up. I'm going to start a question, Mr. Fretz, Mike. I'm going to ask both of you this. Becky G came out. She sang. Did either one of you have any idea who Becky G was?
Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
I had zero idea who she was. And I'm not saying that negatively. She's obviously big enough for, for WWE to book her. I'm not taking away from who she was. I knew who Little Uzi Vert was, but I didn't know who Becky G was. So I was kind of curious by that. The Kevin Hart promo piece was super cool. I liked that. What did you guys think about WWE pushing so heavy with the celebrity stuff so fast last night?
I think it was really, really well done. And you want to get into the mainstream, you got to bring in the mainstream people like Kevin Hart. That was a hilarious bit right there, and everything Hollywood, all the movie spoofs, the Goodfellas one being chief among them, pun intended. And I love that Roman Reigns played the Joe Pesci part, despite the fact that Paul Heyman could be a dead ringer for Joe Pesci.
Mike, what you think?
I mean, they are in Hollywood. So, I mean, we've had that once before, and, I agree with him. If you want to be in the mainstream, you got to bring the, most recent people, that are known right now, Kevin Hart and all that stuff in.
Do y'all think Kevin Hart being there is a foreshadow to The Rock showing up at some point, as they are best friends? And they do a lot of stuff together.
It's possible.
Watch The Rock do the intro for tonight, because everyone thinks that, if something happens tonight, win or lose for Roman Reigns, spoiler alert for my prediction, Cody Rhodes, that we're going to see The Rock come out after the fact and confront him. A lot of, rumor and innuendo, or more likely all of us fantasy booking, had The Rock at least at night 2 going up against the Tribal Chief and splitting the titles, but it is what it is.
JJ says she knew who Becky G was from the Xfinity commercials. Maybe that's because I don't have Xfinity. I'm a streaming guy. We do streaming everything. Hulu, even the Xfinity app we do use as a streaming service, not an actual Xfinity cable box. We've been suckered into the 21st century with that nonsense.
And you're all speaking gibberish to me because I'm Canadian.
He has no idea.
Something poutine, Maple Leafs, Toronto Blue Jays, something.
Something Canadian. Maple syrup.
What's funny is everyone shit on me for this earlier in the year, but I have been saying for the last year that there is no way that The Rock is going to show up at WrestleMania 39, despite the fact that it's in Hollywood. For me, it's just not a big enough situation for The Rock. For me, if he's going to have a match, I've always said it was going to be at 40, which it might be now.
I might go too.
Yeah, I would love for him to be at 40 because we'll be in Philly for that. diving right into the first match, we had the U.S. heavyweight title, one of the most prestigious heavyweight titles in, if you go all the way back to your JCPs, your Georgia Championship Wrestlings, that U.S. heavyweight title will always been a big major title. This match was no different. I foreshadow with the reference to good Southern wrestling because that's what Cena and Theory did, in my opinion. They started, Cena shines, Theory stops him, Theory gets good heat, he gets more heat, he jaw jacks to the crowd. Everything that goes into it. Cena starts his comeback, the ref bump, the visual win, then the low blow and the finish. A lot of people are giving it flack because they're saying it didn't have that big flashy WrestleMania feel, but when they got down to the nitty gritty, I said it was just a downright barn burner classic Southern wrestling match. Mike, I'm going to let you tee off with the Cena Theory match. Fretz follow right behind him. Mike, what did you think initially about this match? As somebody who's been in the ring, do you think, even if it is, this playing the hit, so to speak?
I don't know. I thought the Theory match was good, to be honest with you. I think it's the starter of the pay-per-view. Like, it's the pushing it. Like, I mean, you're starting it off. You're not gonna have a banger in the beginning.
Hi,
but
thanks, AJ, for stopping by.
You're pushing the. You're pushing Theory to be like next in line to be like your passing of the torch type thing, and they still made John Cena look strong if you think about it, because he, who else is going to get hit in the nads and really get up?
Truth. Mr. Fretz, what did you think about the start match when they kicked the show off with Theory and Cena?
I thought it was a very good match. It was a nice touch for John to bring out the Make-A-Wish kids. It's unfortunate that their hero did not win, but as Mike said, we are pushing A-Town down. I've been a fan of Theory since he was in Evolve. I'll have to credit King Ricky Rose from Kings of the Rings for introducing me to all these characters from that company, because he used to go to all those shows at Laboom, like all of them. And I'm insanely jealous of that. And a lot of people gave Cena flack for not really, putting it all out there. But the guy's going to be filming a movie, like almost immediately. It was one shot and he's gone. And we probably won't see him till God knows when, SummerSlam. And now the sky is the limit for Theory. This is his WrestleMania. Well, he debuted. No, this is his third WrestleMania, is it not? Because he was at the COVID Mania.
He was the COVID Mania.
He had Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
He had Pat McAfee last year. Yeah, I think this just continues that upward momentum for him, retaining that title. And I'm interested to see how he goes with it now, because I kind of think that he might do something with the title, i.e. lose it tomorrow night on Raw.
So maybe like a Braun Breaker, somebody who's coming up from NXT?
Absolutely. That's exactly who I would have picked.
Al, what'd you think, the opening match, Theory and Cena?
I think it was a good match. Did it have all the bells and whistles of some of the other matches? No, but that's really Cena's style. He's not like a flashy wrestler. He doesn't do, the flippy dippies or the jumpy jumpies, whatever. He just, he wrestles still that old school style. So to have him do a not old school style would have made the match weird. And, it was what it was. It was a celebrity, a celebrity coming back and, giving the rub to the new kid who's still having kind of a hard time getting over. They have been pushing Theory down our throats for 3 years, and he's not quite to the point that people really like him yet. And so I think getting that rub from Cena is finally going to give him that little push that he needs for people to pay attention to him.
I can get behind that for the most part. I think Theory didn't have the Roman Reigns syndrome. I feel like Roman got force-fed to us for pretty much 9 consecutive years, and then it finally caught traction. I feel like Theory was lucky enough to get it after a couple years. He finally fell into place. But he has that old school mentality. He thinks like a wrestler. He talks like a wrestler. The facials that him and Cena were using in that match told 90% of that story for him with what they were doing because of the way they interacted with each other. JJ says she saw a tweet that Adam Pearce produced the Cena Theory match, which is another... He's not one of those old school guys, but he was an NWA's World Heavyweight Champion, so he understands and appreciates Southern wrestling. Going straight into the second match, we had the Fatal 4-Way. Let's throw as many people on the card as we possibly can showcase. It was about 90 seconds before all hell broke loose. They were tossing Rico around like a bag of, like just a toy. The huge rolling German suplex by Chad Gable, the moonsault by Ivar. Braun Strowman's 350-pound ass jumped off the top rope. There was the big obligatory everybody suplex everybody, and Ricochet crossbodies off the top rope. They did a whole lot, but at the end, the Street Profits came out on top. Fretz, let's kick it off with you. What did you think about the tag team showcase, and did you think it was what it needed to be given how many people were in the ring at the same time?
It was exactly what it needed to be. I was ready to crap all over this match just because you're getting people on the card, but I'm in favor of getting as many people on the card as you can. Give them a WrestleMania payday. Give them a moment. This is big exposure for them because WrestleMania is when all the marks from all over the world come together, and it's big for them. And it was a quick car crash match, and I was loving it. Chad Gable, the rumor is that he could be getting the rocket strapped to him shortly, and after German suplexing freaking Braun Strowman, I think that time is now. I think that U.S. title open challenge, no, screw Breaker. Build Breaker up slowly on the main because he was up too fast on NXT for my taste. Stopped watching NXT for a while because of that, but my lord, it's Gable. He's the MVP of that match. It was just absolute shenanigans. That Tower of Doom spot looked like it was going to be scary, but they pulled it off. I mean, hats off to all of them. And the women's one tonight, I think, is going to be just as good because of all the talent involved in that one. It was awesome.
Mike, what's your 2 cents on the tag team showcase?
I didn't know what to really expect of it when it was announced. But dude, I gotta take my hat off to that man. They did an awesome job. I mean, following up the Theory match, you built up slow, and then next thing you know, you got that, and having the Street Profits win on top of it was a good idea.
For sure. Al?
I had super low expectations for this match because honestly, they just we gotta get some more people on the card because the locker room's bitching about all the celebrities and the and all of the the legacies coming back, and there's not enough current talent on the card, so let's throw everybody into a match. Fuck it. I applaud WWE for actually giving the win to the right tag team, in my opinion. The Street Profits, I feel like they get shit on a lot, and they shouldn't. I assumed that they were going to give it to Braun Strowman and Ricochet, who are great, oddly great as a tag team. I don't super care for Braun Strowman in general, but I am starting to appreciate him and Ricochet together as a tag team. But I'm glad that the Street Profits pulled the win in the end. But yeah, it was actually a really good match. I was really honestly surprised. I equally don't have high expectations for the women's one tonight, but we'll see. Maybe this one will surprise us. I will say the only news and rumors situation that there really is that match may be, the women's match may be changed because, Ronda Rousey has a big mouth and popped off. So, we'll see.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there was some tweets, and she made a comment in an interview I don't have the podcast right in front of me, but it's a WW. It's one of the, it's got to be one of the big label ones. I'll find out and tweet it out after we get off the air. But Ronda made a very public statement about how she doesn't approve with the handling of the WWE women's division right now. And in the midst and, literally in the shadows of their biggest show of the year, when you've got one of the biggest matches of the year, to publicly shame the company probably isn't the best move. So once we get off the air, I'll tweet out the quote when I find it. But I read the same thing this morning. Everybody on the tag team match, did I touch everybody? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Logan Seth. This one, in my opinion, had potential to be match of the night. One, the LA Symphony conductor thing with the chef, out there singing Seth's. That was just cool AF. I think Seth got a bigger pop than Cena. I saw everything from signs, God bless Colby Lopez, all the way through everything, this, that, and the other for it. I love Seth Rollins. These guys put on an absolute banger. Naming it the Maverick Lariat, I think, was a cool touch by commentary with the buckshot. I think that was kind of fun. The big Miss Moonsault, jumping out of the box jump where Logan Paul jumped from the ring to the top turnbuckle into the moonsault in one fell motion. Chef's kiss. The kid's athletic as crap. Seth Rollins doing the 3 times the tope suicidas in and out of the ring, showing the athleticism. The KSI spot everywhere, a big pedigree with a false finish, the go to sleep with a false finish, and then Seth Rollins ends up getting the victory. Al, I'm going to do it in reverse order. I'm starting with you. So ladies first for the Logan Paul Seth Rollins match. What did you think about it? How'd you feel?
I love this match. I also love Seth Rollins. I am super tired of Logan Paul. Like, he is, as Seth said in his promo, he is a dumpster fire of a human. I mean, he's a piece of shit. But
if I hold the bear up, will you show me on the bear where they hurt you? Jesus Christ.
I mean, Logan Paul is a piece of shit. Like, he is. Like, it is what it is. But I will say, I do applaud him. A lot of these guys that come in as not wrestlers, as celebrities, they don't take the time to really learn how to do it correctly. And they hurt people. I will give Logan Paul props and appreciate the fact that he did take the time to properly train with actual wrestlers and learn how to properly do all these spots and not just, go in there and be like, oh, I'm going to punch people, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give him that. And it makes the match that much better. I'm glad Seth won. If Logan Paul won, I was going to be pissed because, this has been like the most losiest year, I think, for Seth Rollins. But I mean, like, we've talked about it many, many times. Like, he doesn't need a belt. He doesn't need the win. Everyone's still going to love him regardless. But, I saw an interview with him where, he is starting to get a little tired of always having to take the L.
JJ says she said on Marks and Mike's, big shout out there, friends of the network. She was on their chat and said that she was convinced Logan was going to come out with a prime bottle. Boom, he did. And she and I both thought that it was Jake Paul in the bottle.
Yes.
Guys, did you honestly think it was his brother? Like, were they going to involve that guy somehow?
I thought it was going to be like the Paul brothers versus, it can't be KO and Sammy at Saudi because Sammy doesn't go, but them versus the Usos or something.
All right, Fretz, what did you think about Logan and Seth? Just go ahead and segue into it and just take your turn next.
It was phenomenal. It was a fantastic match. I was on a Discord chat with King Ricky and friend of the show, Sir Charles, and we were speculating who was under the prime bottle, and we both thought Jake Paul. And when it was I don't know who KSI is. As soon as I saw the mask come off, for a second I thought it was R-Truth. Honestly,
it did look like R-Truth.
It did.
Like, for a second I was like, no fucking way, it's R-Truth. But then it wasn't.
It would be too. And
It would.
I-
That would
I-
100% be something you would do.
oh yeah, I loved the choir director bit. It was just trolly enough to be him, and then the little tribute to Double J with the the spaces in his attire was chef's kiss, just great stuff. And I'll give Logan Paul credit. We don't have to repeat that he's a piece of shit, but my God, he took on the business. Credit, we don't have to repeat that. He's just so good, and I love this match. And WrestleMania is the time of year, I've said this on my podcast, where the heels usually get their comeuppance. See Vince at WrestleMania 17, 19, 23, 26. It happens. He finally got his comeuppance after the Rumble, after the Chamber Pot. It was so good. And I want Seth to get a title already, for the love of God. The man deserves it.
He does.
Agreed. Mike, what are your 2 cents on Logan and Seth?
Well, I everybody knows my pretty much my take on Logan. I don't think he should be in there, but he's been doing a great job so far. I'm gonna give him props, but they need to keep his dumbass brother out of there. I don't want to see Jake Paul on my screen. All right, I skipped YouTube videos because of that. He's horrible, but I thought the match was good. It was. Another thing I want to say is I really wish Seth Rollins would stop raiding Becky Lynch's closet, though.
What's funny, from a WWE behind the scenes TikTok, she saw him in his coat before he came out, and she was pissed. She was like, she was mad because it wasn't hers. She was like, "Oh my God, what?" She's like, "I feel let down because her gear was great, but she was super jealous of his gear." It was hilarious.
I was kind of hoping he was going to come out with the shoes, though.
The big red shoes with the big red coat and everything all tied together.
Yep.
I mean, Becky's already came out as the Fifth Element, so she's done her bit.
I loved everything. There was some monster gears last night. The Cena gear, we didn't even touch on the G.I. Joe gear. I thought that was amazing. There was so many good stuff. And Bianca, I can't wait to see Bianca's tonight with what she did with the Street Profits last night. Her gear tonight's going to be straight fire. Let's segue into the Damage Control, the Becky and Friends match. I loved the I Am Batman intro sequence with the comic book segues. I thought that was super cool to jumpstart. This was the only match that I feel like had any real timing issues that came from me. You could tell that there was a little bit of ring rust maybe on Lita and Trish's part. Some cool Hurricanrana spots. A poetry in motion, kind of. Lots of brawling on both sides. The manhandle slam from the second rope. It was a good but not great match in my opinion. I think Mike, your turn. Let's lead off with you, Mike. What did you think about Damage Control versus Becky and Friends?
I would have started WrestleMania with that instead.
You think this should have been your tee-off match?
Yeah. And there's a reason why. You start with something like that, and then you build your way up to you have a. It was all right. It was kind of, and then it was like, oh, okay, that was a little bit better, and then you keep building, hyping everybody up throughout the night. Other than that, I mean, I love my legends. A lot of people already know I love my legends, but yeah, Lita has a lot of ring rust. When she first came back, you could see when she was hitting the ropes, she wasn't technically hitting the rope, she wasn't like she used to. So, and that's because of her neck injury and stuff. So, I don't know, man. I like that they won but I still think that they should have put over Damage Control just because they're still the younger talent.
Fretz, what you got?
I loved the Sin City intro. That was absolutely perfect. You're in Hollywood. You might as well do a damn good, visually stunning movie.
Do something cool,
I'm with
right?
Mike. I thought that Damage Control should have won. I would have liked to see an angle. A lot of speculation as to what the plans are for a SummerSlam involving Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch. I would love to see that match. I thought out of the two legends that Trish looked better in the ring, and I must say as a man here, just wow. Still looks very, very good at her age. Very nice. And I thought Lita improved leaps and bounds from her appearances on Raw a couple of weeks ago. Like her head scissors didn't look so botchy, if you will, and it was a serviceable match for what it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would have liked to see Damage Control go over as well. Bayley put out something on Instagram about even the most romantic stories have an end. So is she teasing retiring? Is she teasing leaving? Or as I was talking to Ricky and Charles, are we teasing going lone wolf and you leave Damage Control, the Dakota Kai and Io Sky out on their own, defending the tag titles, making their own bit here? And I wouldn't mind seeing that. Maybe them as a babyface team. Bayley continues her lone wolf heel run, looking for herself, and eventually finding herself back in the title picture. Maybe a feud with Ripley. That'd be something I'd like to see.
I mean, me personally, I just can't see Becky as a heel. It's just her. I mean, she's got that little sister face, and she just looks too much of a good guy. And the way she talks and she laughs, she's just not pulling it off for me for being a heel.
Al, was this your least favorite match of the night?
Yes. I mean, it was. I agree with Mike. It should have been the opener, or no offense to Becky Lynch, like maybe it should have been the pre-show match. I don't even think they actually did a pre-show match.
They didn't do any pre-show matches this year.
None planned tonight either.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, like the match was really, really slow. You can tell that Becky was having to slow herself down for, Lita and Trish, and, Io and Dakota have to slow themselves down for Bayley because Bayley is also slow in the ring. I said it once, I've said it twice. I don't super care for Bayley. Io and Dakota are, I think, better than being tied to Bayley right now. I don't know what this game plan is for making them, like, losers. And, it's the same thing they do to Seth. Like, they're just the losers of the women's division right now. With the belts not being on the line, they could have thrown Bayley a W here. Like, I don't understand why they didn't. I guess because, we don't want our legends to lose. I mean, they let Cena lose, but it's, you know what I mean. I don't know. I don't care about Lita having a tag title right now. Yeah, it completes her,
Grand Slam.
Her Grand Slam. Whoop-de-doo. Like, I assume that at Backlash, they will lose the tag belts to Io and Dakota, as it should be. I think Becky is too good to be stuck in this weird women's tag division. Like, it's an odd spot for her to be in.
One thing I want to touch on something you said, and this is oddly enough in defense of Bayley. Bayley works a different style than Io and Dakota, so this is me speaking, I guess, in defense. I feel like she works slower stylistically. That doesn't mean she's slow in the ring. Bayley works at a good rate for how she works. But stylistically, it seems slower compared to a Dakota or an Io because they work more like cruiserweights.
Right. I didn't say, like, her being slow in the ring was bad. I'm just saying, like, she is a slower worker, and they have to slow themselves down.
Oh, okay,
her.
I see what you're saying. I was stylistically, it makes sense for Bayley to be slower than Io.
And stylistically, from Lita and Trish, like, that's what they're also used to, is that style. It is slower in the ring. It's not the high flying, like I said before, flippy dippy shit. That's not that's not the type of wrestling they do. There's nothing wrong with it, but like, you see Becky and you see Dakota and you see Io having to slow down their own moves to make it, to pace everything well, and it almost makes it look dirty.
Well, speaking of fast flippy dippy shit, Rey Mysterio's in the Hall of Fame now. He might be the king of fast flippy dippy shit. He might be the best luchador to ever do it. I recently said on TikTok that I thought he was the best luchador and best cruiserweight to ever do it. Him and Dom had what I'm assuming will be the first match in a series of at least one more, possibly 3 matches. That's my 2 cents. Bad Bunny was on the Spanish announce team. I turned on Peacock on my phone, porque yo hablo español, es muy bueno. I listened for a little bit. I wanted to see how Bad Bunny did on commentary. He's a good talker. I mean, it is what it is. You expected somebody of that caliber to be able to talk. The Ray mask on Dom, a la Halloween Havoc 97. Great touch. LWO entrance for Ray with Snoop Dogg. My notes literally have one line that's just in all caps. It just says, "Here we go." The Muda mask, great back and forth. Dom looked solid in my opinion. Angie stepping in, everything going on with Judgment Day, the LWO rebuttal. Santos Escobar goes flying, 619s all around. Bad Bunny influence interferes. Ray finish, he gets the 1, 2, 3. It was a great match. JJ in the chat, Seth being Seth, EO Dakota and are all better, going in blind. She says Lita and Trish were better to her than they previously. She liked the Cadillac was crazy. I think Mr. Fretz, let's start with you. Ray Dom, what was your opinions on the father-son showdown for match number 1 between the two of them?
This match was hilarious, and this bit isn't hilarious. I'll put it into context. But on the pre-show, they were doing like the prison Dom, like I did time, and they accidentally showed Auschwitz as a prison. Yeah. Matthew from Botched pointed that out quick. So on the main card, they're like, no, delete. Fixed it, thank God. And Dom having the Green Mile entrance, Dead Man Walking, phenomenal.
Super cool.
Halloween Havoc, say that 3 times fast. Also good. And it's also funny that it's from Halloween Havoc 97, the same year Dom was born. Just adds another layer to that story.
It was also Eddie versus Ray, Dom's birth. So much happened in 97. Yes, very important.
Yeah. I finished middle school in 97, so I would have started high school in 98. And Ray being just the dad that's sick of your shit. You've been an asshole to mom and sister all day. Dad's coming home from work and getting the belts out. I mean, I assume some of us are around the same age. We may have gotten similar discipline back in the day. Not justifying it in the slightest, and just saying it happens. You're a little shit. You get that. I got a smack in the head. But I love this, and this is the start of the feud. And I think we'll eventually get to maybe a retirement match at like SummerSlam. Backsplash is in Puerto Rico. Shout out to Issa the Demon Diva, friend of the show, awesome person out in Puerto Rico. Ecstatic for Bad Bunny. We're getting a tag match. I can see a tag match happening with Bad Bunny and
Ray versus Dom and Damien, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dom and Damien or something like that, or Dom and even Finn, as we get a smaller guy going in with there. But Priest did very well with him. Was that last year?
That was last year. That was the 2020.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Holy Lord, what is time? My God, I am WrestleMania years old. Yeah. And I think it was the right move for Ray to get the W here because Dom was pestering him, and it took being a dick to his mom for Ray to finally snap. It's the beginning. WrestleMania is usually the end of the feud. It's the season finale, but it's also the start of something new. See the unfortunate Stone Cold heel turn from 2001. See something else. This was a great story because that's what wrestling does perfectly, and that's what this show did damn near perfectly, was tell stories in their own right. Loved it.
Mike, what'd you think about Ray Dom?
I really had Dom going over, but I didn't. I mean, I thought it was a solid match. Dom looked strong. Ray looked good as ever, and I'm not gonna lie, I cried when I heard the Eddie Guerrero music. Um, Not only that, but I mean, I would have loved. See, I wish they would have booked the Dom thing going to prison just a little bit more serious. Um, just like have him off TV for a good minute before wrestle. Like, make it look like he actually did some time. Just this whole like, I mean, I thought it was a cool little entrance, but it was just, I don't know, it's kind of dull for me when it comes to the non kayfabe, I guess. Um, but the match itself was solid. I love on SmackDown when they introduced the LWO. I just really hope they come out with the old entrance music. That's what I'm waiting for. But yeah, it was really solid match. Dom looked great, and Ray did as always.
Yeah. Sorry, Al disappeared and then came right back for a second. Al, your turn. What did you think about Ray and Dom?
I think it was a great match. I definitely agree with what Mr. Fretz said. I think this is, the beginning of a series, and I've been saying that. Everyone's like, oh, they'll never have a match. Like, Ray's not going to wrestle him. BS. I was like, I called it. They're going to have a, Will's been saying it for 2 years that this was going to happen. He said if it wasn't going to happen last year, it was going to happen this year. I think they do another match in Puerto Rico at Backlash. I think Dom loses again. And then, I think, it'll continue to build. And they'll do, a third match either... probably, I wouldn't say like Money in the Bank. That's a weird one to do it. At some point, they're going to do a Mask versus Career in a Hell in a Cell. For sure.
That's a big call. You shot on that?
I've been saying it. Give or take the Hell in a Cell part, but they're definitely going to do a Mask versus Career, and Dom is going to win, and Ray is going to ride off into the sunset, and then... wait a couple months and officially retire in AAA.
I don't think he needs to officially retire in AAA. He might do a match in Mexico. He has spent well past the majority of his career in the States wrestling for WCW.
Right, well, you know what I mean. Like, he'll retire from WWE and then he'll go and do some retirement stuff in AAA. I wouldn't say officially retire, but he'll go back to AAA to do a retirement there.
I could see that, maybe. I don't feel like it's a necessity, but yes, I do agree. He'll probably go to Mexico and do something in Mexico because that's where it all started, right?
Yeah.
Charlotte Rhea. I said what I said it needed to in my Pissed Off for Greatness when it comes a lot to this one. Al said it as well. It's 2 years in a row. Flair's got bumped. Last year it was KO, and Stone Cold this year it was for the tag team titles. First time in WrestleMania history, the ref, the ring announcer, and all the competitors were all women. Flair did lots of Flair things, tons of trash talk from Rhea Ripley. It looks like they were gonna kind of give these girls like as much time as they wanted, because with us thinking it was this and then the main event as far as we knew. So we were sitting there like, are they going to give these girls, damn near an hour to work? And they probably could have. The final time for the match was a shade under 24 minutes. The only match that went longer was the main event. Flair shuts down Rhea. Big release German suplex where Rhea dropped Charlotte on her face. That was a big barn burner of a match. JJ says chef's kiss. Then Flair gets the business. It goes back and forth. Weak covers were the story for Rhea Ripley through the match, and they almost made it look like if Rhea loses, it'll be the stories of her weak covers. It keeps going back and forth. The moonsaults. Charlotte gets color the hard way. A little bit of the indie spice with the back and forth, just beating the ever-loving shit out of each other. Then the Riptide with a finish. Al, it's a ladies' match. It was supposed to be the main event. I'm going to let you kick this one off. What were your opinions of Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, with Rhea getting the win at WrestleMania?
Honestly, I think that this was match of the night. Both women, came to play, and they played hard. It was a beautiful match. I would have liked to see Charlotte win. And I only say that because the other day in Rhea's promo, she was like, I need to be the champion. I need to be a superstar. To me, that was this would have been the perfect moment to sort of, take Rhea down a peg. But this also gives us the opportunity to turn Charlotte back into a heel, because let's just be honest, she's not a great babyface. I mean, people are going to cheer her regardless, but she's just not a babyface. It just doesn't suit her. But no, both women did absolutely amazing. You can see at the end of the match where Charlotte broke character and she was smiling because she was happy for Rhea, because, she...
It was a hell of a match.
Yeah.
And
Rhea deserves this. She's gotten shit on with her last title reign in, Raw. She got shit on. This is she is the first true women's Grand Slam champion, because she's the only woman to have also held the NXT UK women's title. So, I think this is a great move for Rhea. She's an incredible athlete and an incredible superstar. I'm ready for the Judgment Day to be done so she can kind of do her own thing and get rid of little baby Dom, because it's annoying to me at this point. I'd like to see her. I'm fine with her continuing to be a heel, but I think it's time for her to do her own thing.
Mike, what you got on Miss Flair?
She kind of took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, she's the only true Grand Slam champion. I thought the match was amazing. That's, originally I really thought maybe when we were doing our predictions, I really thought that should have been the opener, but I'm happy it wasn't, because it was an amazing match. There's no takeaways from it. They left it. The best way to put it is they left it all in the ring.
100%.
Yeah.
Mr. Fretz, what'd you have on the SmackDown Women's Titles match?
I think everyone they've already said it best. I love the touch of the camera unintentionally catching Charlotte going yeah, you got your moment. You got it. You got me. And as to what Ali said, it would have been a glorious troll job if Charlotte beat her at Mania again. And then, okay, hot shot the belt on Monday Night Raw. Why not? Or SmackDown. In the in-ring perspective, this was the best match of the night. Mm-hmm. In the in-ring. Storytelling, well, that's the next one, obviously, for me. But my God, that German suplex bit was scary. Even Corey Graves on commentary was just yikes.
Yeah.
Oof. They left it all out in the ring, and they're like, okay, we're not main eventing. We're just gonna go hell for leather here. We're just gonna take lumps out of each other, take years off of our lives and careers. No big deal. I love that Ripley. I remember there was only a couple of NXT UK women's champions. There was her, Toni Storm, Kaylee Ray. Well, Kaylee Ray, Alba Fire, whatever the heck you want to call her. She's on her way to getting that Triple Crown and could get there someday.
For sure.
In ring, I absolutely loved this match. My jaw was on the floor the whole time. That Brett's rope, Riptide, because it's the most dangerous rope. Shout out to OSW. Damn good.
JJ said it best. She said Charlotte actually sold to someone. It's very rare that she gives respect in ring to another woman. It's true. It takes a lot for Charlotte Flair to give a shit about you and to want to work with you and sell for you. Because she, we've seen her in the past with Nia Jax, no sell the shit out of stuff. But, Charlotte is, in my opinion, the best woman right now. She is and will be, by the end of it, one of the best to ever do it in the women's division. I think that people shit on her a lot because she's a Flair, blah, blah, but she works really hard. But no, if Charlotte sells for you, that means a lot, and that's like getting the rub from, Roman or Cena or somebody like that to get the rub from Charlotte that she's gonna sell for you.
Agreed.
And she's a legacy too, like
Yeah.
daughter of a legend. She, of course, like her respect is huge.
Yes.
Dad Hat says last night texting Will solidified that he and I are the same person with our wrestling thoughts and opinions. Yeah, every time I would text Dad Hat, he would respond within just a couple minutes of being like, "Yep," or it would be vice versa. He'd send something to me and I'd be like, "Yep." I don't really have a much to say. There was the whole Miz and Pat McAfee, that whole thing. Big lariats, kind of a squash match, seemed kind of unnecessary. Kind of cool to see McAfee. He's not back, but he's back. He's going to make appearances. This match was less than 5 minutes, but because they rang a bell and counted it, it really fucked the average up on the night because I graded it like a real match and it was just kind of a shit show. Fretz, did you have anything to say about the whole Miz-McAfee interaction?
I popped, honestly. I really popped. I love Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee, yes, loved seeing him. Just on the match.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Rock versus Eric Redbeard from a few years ago. Just, unnecessary, but you got Pat on the card. You got his moment. Michael Cole flipping his shit. It was
That's
fun.
always fun. Mike, what did you think about McAfee showing up?
I say it was a filler. That's it. Just a filler.
Give the crowd time to breathe before the main event went out?
Yeah. Yep. It was like, oh my God, we had a hell of a match. Now we're just going to let them calm down before this one. So, you're not overwhelmed with it. I popped for Pat, and I also think it was just another way to be able to have Snoop go in the ring and sit there and say something. That was all it was. It was a filler for Snoop and Pat to come out. That was it. And a calm down for everybody. But that's it.
Al, how pissed were you when you found out not only were they not the main event, they weren't even the semi-main event?
I agree that there needed to be some cool down, but they could have done, they didn't have to make it a match. Like, they could have just all come out. Snoop Dogg could have come out and done a thing, and blah, 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 and that would be the end of it. Like, there didn't need to be this little miniature bullshit, I don't give a fuck match. This match was to make The Miz happy so that he could say I got to wrestle on Mania because, they gave him that bullshit host of WrestleMania spot that they give to the person that, we want to kind of make you happy, but we're still going to shit on you at the same time.
Is The Miz slowly becoming Titus O'Neil?
Yes.
Ooh.
They're sending Miz out to do all these things. They have him doing reality shows. They're doing the same thing to Alexa Bliss again. She just did Masked Singer. Jericho was on Masked Singer. Oh shit, WWE's got to have somebody on Masked Singer. They had Miz on Dancing with the Stars, and Miz does, a couple other things. He has his own reality show. Miz is a
jack of all trades.
He is, and he should be using the ring. I don't know if it's his choice or their choice to keep him from doing a whole lot of in-ring work. I don't really know, a lot about his injury history and what have you, but it's more so they're using him more as a spokesman for the company than they are in-ring, because he's still, he's on TV every week, but it's always talk show stuff. He's never actually wrestling.
Yeah.
They should just move him to commentary, honestly, at this point. I think that would be a good place for him.
I could probably attest. I don't know. I think Miz still has. I say he's got one more good IC title run. He needs one to tie Jericho for the all-time record. He needs 50 days to beat Jericho for the all-time record. So I see them giving him one more IC title reign whenever Gunther gets off of it. Main event, guys. Usos, KO, and Sammy. It was the longest match of the night. Almost 25 minutes on the mark. Usos out first. So I wonder tonight, I guess I'll start here. Do you think they'll send Roman out first so Cody will have the entrance? Since they sent the Usos out first and gave the bigger entrance to Sammy KO?
You gotta blow the pyro budget somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. This match was exactly what we expected it to be. It was hard fought. Both teams got all their moves in. They helped put each other over. It was the story of, I would call it the story of hot tags, because both teams utilized hot tags on multiple occasions, getting fresh guys in, helping get things done. Vintage Sammy neckbreaker on the apron with, I think it was Jay. That was a fantastic spot. They talk about the tag team dominance and the Uso, and then they talk about Steen and Generico, which I thought was also primo. They gave PWG their roses. They talked about Steen and Generico. They brought it over. Big Uso splash from Sammy. Then they hit the haluva kick on Sammy later, so we see the back and forth with finishers. Exploder suplex. We saw every move you could possibly see. The stunner, haluva kick finish, and he just keeps pounding them in until they finally get it. 1, 2, 3, Sammy and KO are now the undisputed tag team champions. Mike, tee off the main event. What does it mean for us to see the belts come off the bloodline for the first time in, 2.5 years? It feels like the Usos have been tag champs for a long time.
It's needed. Because the bloodline storyline's not stale. It's the title reign. Most people know that I'm the Attitude Era kind of guy, where I love seeing 6-7 guys go after these championships and being able to see different champions. This guy held it for 3 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 6 months. I love that stuff. I like seeing different people be champions, not the same champion. I understand we used to have that back in the day with Bruno and all that stuff, but to me, that stuff doesn't work anymore. With the match itself, man, just like the Rhea and Charlotte, this is the first time I've seen storytelling in the ring with their bodies and everything that they did. They told a story in the ring, and I loved every second of it. I was on the edge of my seat with this match the whole time. I was like, they're gonna lose, great. And then next thing nope. And then so I loved that match, every second of it.
Fretz, what'd you think about the tag title match?
Beaming with Canadian pride, for one thing. Just seeing two of my absolute favorite fellow countrymen in the main event. I'm just going to say it out there. This is the match that should have been there. No disrespect to the women. I mean, in the past, we've seen women get deservedly the main event spot. This, from the storytelling perspective, has been the overarching theme of all of WWE for at least the past 2 years. It has been phenomenal. And, Sammy, a lot of people are like, Sami Zayn's on a main eventer. Montreal, Elimination Chamber, and right here. And as Cody Rhodes says, you finish your story, then I'm going to finish mine. So the crumbling is starting on the bloodline. And a lot of people like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if Roman Reigns got 1,000 days? Stop it now. No. And like Charlotte Rhea before it, they had me. Like I thought Charlotte had, there was one spot in that match, I can't remember exactly where it was, that near fall, they had me. The 1D, it had me. Friggin' Jey Uso pressing A and B and No Mercy, using Move Thief, hell of a kick, had me. And then it happened. I mean, that's all I can say. It's kind of a loss for words kind of thing. I had to keep my screaming to a minimum because I don't live by myself. And my mother's in the other room right now, and there's a tenant in the other half of this townhouse. I had to do one of those silent screaming kind of bits. Yeah. Well, except when the Maple Leafs score, then I just go fucking nuts as it is. Playoffs are beginning, and I'm incredibly anxious. Perfection. This match, perfection.
Agreed. The story here, everything about the bloodline building for the last 2 years gave us this. And Mike was right. This doesn't have to be the end of the bloodline story. It's just the end of the title reign, so to speak. Al, what are your 2 cents on the main event?
I think that it was amazing. Story wise, yes, it definitely needed to be the last thing. I said it. No disrespect to the women, but it needed to be the last thing to happen. I think that the Usos are the hardest working people on WWE's roster, hands down. They are, not only have they for the last 6 months have done SmackDown every week, they have also done Raw every single week. They've had matches, 2 matches every single week for months and months and months. It is time for these gentlemen to take a much deserved break. Roman too. I mean, I know Roman's been part-time, but he wants to step away for a while. It's Jimmy and Jay deserve to have a break and not have to, be on all the time. They have very much earned it. It was an amazing story. I wish that there had been, and there still is time for it tonight, my prediction of a double turn for Jay to still turn on Roman and go back to Sammy and KO. It can still happen. Yeah, like it's time for Jay Uso to give the push that he is deserved in a singles run.
All right, I think that's everybody, right?
Yep.
All right, Mike, I know you're at work. You're about to have to go. One more question before we plug it and go home. I'll let you start first. What's your biggest prediction for night 2, and who do you have in the main event?
It's 50-50. Do you stick with business-wise and let Roman go to 1,000? Or do you play out the boyhood dream winning the title for Dusty? It's 50-50, man, at this point.
It's a tough call.
Yep.
All right, do you have a prediction for me? I knew somebody debuting, somebody coming back. Anything?
Me? Did you say
Mike?
Me? Oh, Mike.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
It might be interesting if The Rock does show up. If it's maybe the Usos, going down there and they're trying to keep Roman from keeping the championship, and then next thing you know, Rock comes down and they think they're on his side and he just rock bottoms them. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible at this point in time.
Mr. Fretz, who you got winning the main event tonight, and do you think they got any shenanigans coming their way?
Finish the story. Get a belt like your daddy. Sami Zayn and KO finished theirs on night 1. Full circle moment. Nate the effing great take a shot. Story ends. Night 2. Cody's. My money's on Cody. You're main eventing. You're going on last. You're going to have a big crying fireworks show with Cody and Brandy. And for the love of God, don't bring the white dog, whatever his name is, out there in the middle of the fucking pyro, because he'll shit his pants. I mean, we'll have a repeat of Kennel from Hell if we bring the dog out. No. Cody.
Cody's going to bring it home. Al?
Oh,
wait, Fretz, you got a prediction for me. Anything wild coming?
Well, I think we're going to see an appearance of one L.A. Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be Lashley? If they do the open challenge with Lashley, do you think that's who it's going to be?
I mean, if it's not fucking KSI, it has to be L.A. Knight. No. KSI had his bit getting frog splashed in the most comfy way possible. I've worn the mascot suit. They're pretty soft, but they're hot as hell. Maybe we get an impromptu bit, or maybe it's like, Miz is running his mouth, and then, yeah, and then,
yeah,
like, no, tiny balls, yeah, LA Knight.
Yeah.
He said you can't have a LA WrestleMania without LA Knight. He'll do something. Not a match, but something.
All right, Al, it's your turn. Who you got in the main event? And are there any shenanigans coming our way?
So I think Cody's gonna win it. I want to read something that I said the other day. Backstory: my sister teaches middle school, and one of her students asked her to ask me, because they know I have a podcast, who I thought was gonna win, and I said Cody, and he said why. And then he also mentioned, but don't, the whole thing about the 1,000 days. And I said, this is what I said back to him. I said, the 1,000 days is a milestone, but it still wouldn't break the record, which was set, we all know, by Bruno Sammartino, who had it for 2,803 days. The story of Cody winning at his first ever WrestleMania main event and winning the belt his father and brother never won is a bigger story than the 1,000 days. Cody winning will give the prestige back to the Rhodes name and honor the legacy of Dusty. And then from a behind-the-scenes standpoint, Roman has been wanting to step back for a long time and focus on other parts of his career. So
you've got Cody.
So I have Cody. Honestly, we maybe see a Bray situation. Bray is in LA. Alexa has made it abundantly clear that she is in LA. Unfortunately, her story and Nikki's story and some of these other people who we don't know are behind the mask, all their stories are tied into Bray. So if Bray is just being pissy pants again and taking his ball and going home, it's kind of shitty, because he needs, I get, if mental health, that's number one, but if you're just being whiny about creative or whatever, think about the other people whose stories are tied into your stories, and if you get pissy and just leave, you're fucking over all of these people that have worked hard to be part of your story because you wanted them to be part of your story. So I don't know, I'm curious to see what happens with that. JJ, said Orton is rumored. We've been hearing rumors for months that Orton is having gear made and what have you. So, maybe we see him. I was surprised that there wasn't really any returns last night. Usually night one has surprises and things like that, but they're really, I wouldn't really call Pat McAfee a surprise. So I'm interested for what's happening tonight, since not a lot extra happened yesterday.
All right, guys, we did it. We made it through the card. We did the quick rundown. I told you about an hour. We went about an hour 10. I'm going to let you lead off, Mr. Fretz. Plug your stuff. Tell everybody what's going on over at Fretzlemania. Put yourself over and where to find you.
Well, you can find me on all my social medias at Fretzlemania. That's FRETZLE Mania. I'm mostly been reviewing the Ruthless Aggression era right now. I'm in just after WrestleMania 19. I actually just recorded that with my good brother, also on the War Network, Nate the Effin' Great of Brace for Impact. We reviewed WrestleMania 19 together. It's coming out on the 14th because this week I'm talking about WrestleMania 39. WrestleAddict Radio is also where you can find Kings of the Rings podcast, where you can find the Young Lions Perspective, and of course WrestleMania and Brace for Impact, The Cure for the Common Wrestling Podcast, Addict_Wrestle on Twitter, WrestleAddict Radio on all other socials. You had King Ricky on there recently. Very good man, very good friend, and yeah, I dabble in other stuff. I'll go back and do a show from the 90s once in a while. It's what I'm feeling. I'm a retro guy.
Mike, what's going on over at Free Talk Wrestling and the Panda Wrestling Company?
Yeah, not much. We switched over to Thursdays at 10 o'clock, I think it's Eastern time, or 9 o'clock Eastern time, 10 o'clock. So I don't know. They keep switching the times on me. But yeah, you can find me on All Wrestling for Life on TikTok, on now Clapper. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and then of course on the Panda Wrestling Company with Free Talk Wrestling on Thursdays, and that's pretty much it.
I'm allergic to clapper.
I only got
What's
it because
clapper?
just in case.
No, I messed up my joke. I was going to say something about can't going on clapper because I'm allergic to penicillin. I fucked my joke up. Never mind.
Jesus.
Allison, plug your stuff. Tell everybody what's going on.
What's Clapper?
It's a new TikTok app where you can go live as soon as you get it. You don't have to. Thanks, JJ. Thanks for stopping by. You don't have to have any following limits before you can go live over there. You can just. It's kind of a blend between Twitch and TikTok.
Interesting.
And you don't need the clap.
I thought it was that light that you could turn off by clapping back in the day.
You're about the same age as I
Clap
am. I remember the clapper.
I'm 39 in like less than a month, so yeah.
I'm 38 later this year. Yeah, we're about the same. Al, what you got?
You can find me at justagirl918 on the Twitters and TikTokies. I say it every week. I'm going to do a comic. I really am going to do a comic this time. I actually have a good idea. For one, I've just had comic block for a while. So, yeah, we're going to do that. I'm hoping by the end of... What month is it? Is it April? Yeah. I'm hoping by the end of April to launch the Boss Bitch Power Hour. Yeah, things are busy. I'm getting behind. So, yeah.
Well, guys, I appreciate it very much. It was a lot of fun to run down and recap night one. Programming notes. Check us out. We'll probably be going live at some point tomorrow to recap night 2 before Raw. I'm going to try to get some guys back on. We'll kind of run down night 2. We've got Dirty Belly tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. We're going to be, the chefs are going to be breaking down Easter brunch, so that's kind of cool. We got trivia on Thursday night. Kai Tai is going to make his a triumphant return to defend his trivia title. Shout outs, follow TGN and Superbeard and Self Bet and Dad Hat and all those guys. Follow Creation Conversations, Lord Cussalot, Travis Pointer, SES Vince, MATTRIDDER, Matt Ritter, Katie Wrestling 13. Follow all my friends. But now as we close another episode of Botched and Share Shots, I'll take a minute. Thank you for listening. Remind you to go wherever you do anything on the internet, like, follow, subscribe, unsubscribe, then subscribe again. Leave a comment telling me how great I am or how terrible I sound. Either way, it helps the algorithm and it helps find new listeners. If you're feeling really generous, be one of the VIP people, head over to patreon.com and donate to the Rivet City Radio Podcast Network. You get some fantastic swag. We get some fantastic guests. It's a win. Win for Mr. Fretz of the Fretzlemania Podcast, for Big Mike the Hill from Panda Wrestling Company, and for the boss bitch, Miss Allison Siegel. I am the Will Gray. Thanks for stopping by and listening, my people.